Come check out on twitch.tv/lastpodcastnetwork, July 29th from 10 to 10, we are doing The Grind. Yeah, that's right. It is every person from the Last Podcast Network. We got new shows that are going to be debuting for the Twitch channel, and it's all going to be set to the incredible tunes of our favorite mid-aught show, The Grind. It's going to be sexy and sunny and blubbery. It's on twitch.tv/lastpodcastnetwork.
There's no place to escape to.
This is the Last Podcast.
On the left.
Side stories.
From your glade. That's when the cannibalism started.
Side stories. Yes.
All right, let's start the show. It's Saturday Night Live.
It's not. It is not.
It's Saturday night.
Tuesday afternoon pre-recorded.
Oh,
this is what we do. It's called a podcast.
Whoa.
Unfortunately, I do wish
let's hop right into it.
Let's hop right into it. I happened to go see our boy Oppie.
Who?
Mr. Oppenheimer.
Ooh, Oppenheimer. I heard there was a lot of hot sex.
There isn't.
Well, I heard there was.
The only spoiler.
You don't go see the Barbie movie and take notes like Ben Shapiro did?
That is the saddest, driest pussy thing I've ever heard anybody do ever. I went to see Oppenheimer again, according to SAG strike stipulations. This is real.
Okay.
Which is, and I do believe that this should be true. You should go see these movies because you're supporting the artists within the movies, right? And I got nothing to do with this movie, so I can talk about it. I'm not even necessarily promoting it because the one thing I went to go see,
all right,
I didn't get.
What's that?
Open Cillian Murphy Oppenheimer dong.
I thought there was a lot of sex. I was told there was a lot of hot moaning and groaning between scientists, humping each other.
Straight up sold Natalie on coming to see this movie because she was like, I'm going to go see the Barbie movie.
She wants to see that Cillian cock.
That's what literally what I said. I was like, don't you want to see Cillian Murphy's dick?
Right.
And she was like, yeah.
That's the real mushroom.
I was like, I want to see it. Exactly.
That's the real mushroom bomb.
That's the tip. But
doesn't everything at the end of the day that explodes resemble a penis? Isn't that kind of nice? Look at the Amazon logo. It's just a cock that smiles. You ever notice that?
No.
Once you notice it, you will only see a cock that's smiling.
Let me look at this.
It is just a cock, and they're like, no, that's his smile, and no, it's a penis.
It's definitely well,
it's a cock.
Okay.
Yeah. So now you see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue on with your diatribe. Did you like the movie?
It's all right.
It's aight.
You saw, Rob. I went with everybody. We watched it. If I didn't do the fucking 13 hours of Manhattan Project information, I don't know if I would know what the movie was, what was happening.
But isn't that half the fun? Also, this is Christopher Nolan, right?
Yes.
He's the guy who made Tenet.
Yeah, he likes to write scripts and then cut every fifth word out of the script so you don't know what's happening.
Isn't that weird?
But I do thought, again, big, there was boobies in there and they were fine. But then it was like, how do I say more bomb? I wanted more bomb.
I could see that, of course.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm coming in hot here at the very top of the episode. We haven't even introed
Not yet. No, I want you to finish this because this is what people came to the episode for. So after this, even before we hop right into it, you can stop listening. So anyway, final thoughts. Star system or thumbs up system?
Well,
how many stars, how many thumbs?
Extremely well acted.
That's not part of this, okay?
Everybody's very serious.
You're really circling the wagons here. You can say you didn't like it.
No, because that would be incorrect. It's not that I didn't like it. I actually liked it very much. It was a good drama. But I was kind of, I just wanted more bombs or more sloughing.
More sloughing, okay.
I mean, in my mind, I know that it might be inappropriate. And again, Cillian Murphy's 10-foot fucking IMAX-sized penis was what I was.
Is he known for a big penis?
I'm just saying, on an IMAX.
Well, anyone's have a big ding-dong on an IMAX.
My goal was to go see it and then see if I was bigger than the penis.
Yeah.
On the screen.
It's a whole body.
Yeah. Because, again, I was excited for it. You see a little bit of his balls.
Now that this strike is going to go on forever because the executives are fucking unbelievable schmucks, maybe porno will just finally come back to the big screen.
Yeah, you wait.
And we can see if our entire bodies are the size of some of these guys' ding-dongs.
I just feel like
Welcome to Side Stories, everyone. Ben hanging out with Henry.
It doesn't need to be full-on pornography to see a penis.
No, it doesn't have to be full on, but if I'm going to see it, I would like it to be fully elongated.
Oh,
I
you
don't
like
want to
an
watch.
erect
I don't want to
penis.
watch the NBA players in the locker room before the game. I want to see them on the court. So yeah, why? Of course, you want to see an erect penis. Yes, of course.
That is really interesting.
What do you
'cause
mean?
that is true.
You would rather not see an erect penis?
Well,
There's
then-
something much. I mean, it just reminds me of the YMCA when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Old man dong. You can never forget it. I would much rather see an erect penis on the screen than an unerect penis on the screen because unerect penises, again, they're just get a job.
Yeah, I feel like because the same thing. Sick origin stories.
Yeah, I don't care.
I like to see the end, you know. But it was. I guess that's why it was disappointing. But our buddy David Dasmalchian
Oh, he's the best.
crushed it.
He is
Jack
so
Wade,
good.
friend of the show, crushed.
You know
it.
what else I watched recently? It was just, well, without the sound, but with subtitles, Dune.
Yes.
And
Wait a second. So you watched it silently and then you read it?
It was in
There's
the
like
corner.
20 words of dialogue.
it was in the
that movie.
corner of the bar I was at. And they were playing it because it's a cool bar, so they don't
Who's
show
playing
sports.
Dune at the bar?
It's one of those hipster bars. You know, they always show like, this was, whatever. Imagine John McCain and Lindsey Graham's buttholes, and then they show you that. and
That's not real. But
I don't know.
I don't even know what movie you'd even be postulating about.
Oh, the old Senator's Grunt.
But
you never
you
watched
watched-
the Senator's Grunt?
Oh, God,
my God.
Stag
You
films.
don't want to be that guy.
You
He
really
lives in the bathroom.
They put a silent Dune on, and then you watched it, and then you just watched like
I liked it.
5 words crawl across the screen.
But that makes it much easier for subtitling. Because if you're a subtitlist, you get paid the same as if you're doing something
Oh, yeah.
with like a massive word. Like if
No,
you're
Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, where if you were literally click, 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 it would be walls because
a
there
lot
was
of
a
words.
lot of talking.
Oh, come on.
It was good though. It was really good, and it was compelling. Cillian Murphy did a good job. They did a good job. Did you know?
We already know.
Did you know Oppenheimer?
Why are your hands so cold? He's touching me, folks.
It's because
Why are they so cold?
It's just because again I've been.
Are you alive?
I don't know. No,
Yuck.
feel my icy grip.
Yeah.
Feel my icy grip.
It is icy.
I want you to know for certain, just so you know, in case you were remotely concerned, don't worry. Oppenheimer was super guilty in it.
Okay, fantastic. Well, speaking of super guilty and directions, Henry, we have an update. This is a story that we have covered. Yeah, we know we're not internet sleuths, but we have covered this story for a long time, and it is about the GIMP of the UK.
Well, the Somerset
This
Gimp has
man,
gone
the
to
summer-
trial.
he
He's
has-
32 years young, and he doesn't look it.
Joshua Hunt.
He is not-
aged like a GIMP. So he does look much older, but he took the stand, I believe, and he was
And he
not
went,
wearing any. Yep. And he was not wearing any of his GIMP makeup.
No.
And he looks very, very British.
Yeah, he's not Lady Gaga.
No, he's
You know
not.
what I mean? It's not like he shows up and like, oh, I can't believe what he looks like with no make on. No, he kind of looks exactly what I thought the Somerset Gimp was going to look like.
I suppose so.
He looks
Joshua
like Prince
Hunt.
Harry's plumber.
Yeah, he really does.
Look,
he got
this
some
guy,
funky teeth.
he
He's
looks
got
like
the funky
shit.
hair.
He's got the same. I don't know what happens to British men.
I'm not sure. Something
I don't
in the
know.
water there. Joshua Hunt, he's accused of 2 charges of provocation
Provocation.
or violence under Section 4 of the Public Order Act,
coming in.
which does mean that somebody had to be like, don't forget to add the GIMP.
I feel like there was that. There was somebody been like, I just good sir, add leather clad to this description. But there was it is interesting.
North
He's under a court order, which
Yes.
which I find fascinating. I don't know how do you actually make sure that this is being adhered to? Where he says
What?
here, he is not allowed to wear a mask or possess one in a public space according to a court order.
Yeah, you watch him. And
But then he's not allowed to wear black all-in-one clothing. So there's not even like the GIMP suit. It's like
kind
he
of
can't-
interesting, isn't
He can't
it?
dress like what's her name?
Steve Jobs.
Catwoman.
Oh, yes. He
Yes.
can't, because of course he looks.
He can't dress like Catwoman.
Eartha Kitt and Michelle Pfeiffer, the 2 best cat women around.
He was also told to not crawl, wriggle, or writhe on the ground while wearing a full body covering or mask. Now,
It
this is my
does
question.
seem very specific.
It's very
doesn't it?
specific.
Yeah.
And then a part of me wonders, like, let's just say it's Halloween, right? But so this leads up
But
to
it's
this thing,
not, though.
right? We're going to get to Halloween.
I don't
a
deal in
couple months.
hypotheticals.
How do you?
I don't deal in hypotheticals.
How do you live a whole life? How do you live a whole life? Hypotheticals come up all the time.
All right,
It's
fine.
called, it's everything you don't know.
Fine. Throw it at me.
It's October. Right? Imagine pumpkins. Brisk feeling in here.
I'm just thinking of the Batman now.
Orange and black. But he
Fear
goes. So
is a tool.
He's in costume, right? Let's say
he's not allowed to be in costume.
I guess
at
not.
all.
And so he's got a mask on. I guess he's not allowed to participate in Halloween at all. How much of a bummer is that? First of all, legally, you're not allowed to participate in Halloween.
He overdid it.
But then what?
He overdid it.
He really did. He was living Halloween out loud for too long.
Absolutely. It's the same reason Robert Downey Jr. can't drink anymore.
No,
he overdid it.
He just
can't
shows,
do it.
He shows up at people's houses now, and Iron Man can't do that anymore.
No, he cannot.
But let's say he in his own home. Let's say, okay.
No, he can't. He could ride in his own home.
Let's say he's in his own house, right?
Yeah.
And he's wearing a mask because he's going to scare his family.
He would.
And then he covers himself accidentally in gasoline and gets set on fire. And then he wriggles out of his own home, right? Let's say he wriggles out of his own home. Army crawls out, right? Because he's on fire and he's trying to keep the fires from spreading to his family. And then he's rolling around the front lawn. And then a police officer, a bobby, he comes by, right? No weapon. Totally vulnerable.
Yeah, how is he going to put the fire out without a gun?
On fire, rolling around in the grass, right? And then you think his thing's been like, one ticket for you, you pervert.
Well, maybe
oh, you pervert, I see how you do the writhe and you wriggle. It's against the law.
I like to think that UK officers would put him out first and then give him a ticket. In the US, you just get the ticket and probably burns up with your body as you die.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, of course, the defendant is accused of using towards another person threatening, abusive or insulting words or behavior with intent to cause that person to believe that immediate unlawful violence will be used against him or another by any other person. Has he just not hung out in America?
No, I don't think so. You know what it is the thing about how they tried to shut down Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Right? And now he's out there, he can't even wriggle.
They wouldn't even let his hips on television.
No, they won't. And that shows how far we've come.
You really, God, have they not heard of roast humor?
I mean, this is, again, we're not going to go back into how is this a crime or not. We're not going to even broach the subject.
We're not going to do it.
Because he is obviously now here. It's mostly just good to look at his face and understand that's what the GIMP looks like.
But now, to be fair,
and I think that's the most important lesson we can all learn, is that to look at this man's face and look at yourself in the mirror and decide, do I want to be this man?
Do I want to be the next big GIMP?
Because now he's fighting hard against being a GIMP, and which is, again, not what a GIMP's supposed to do. That's also against the GIMP's culture.
He's sort of defining GIMP culture to me. He's kind of, he really shed a light on GIMP culture. And I don't know if that's fair to the GIMP community or not, but he's the most famous GIMP that I know.
He is unfortunately the most famous GIMP outside of Pulp Fiction. And now he's
but that, of course, was an actor.
He was an actor.
That was an actor.
Now that he is now we know, I've received many interesting emails about people that you are allowed to absolutely be somebody's sex slave consensually.
Yeah, of
and
course.
now he's showing this. He's trying to show that you got to sign on the dotted line if you want to make that tiny bounce.
If you take a look at the number of dog cages sold across the world and the number of dogs that are actually kept as pets, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people using those.
There's a lot of overlap.
But interestingly enough, he can be a GIMP again. This all expires. All of these rules, they all expire in January. So
he's just going to keep it with his family inside of his own home.
Again, I don't know about the family situation there. So he's pleaded not guilty. So we'll keep you updated on the Somerset GIMP as he's officially unmasked and on trial. You know, usually when people are masked and unmasked, everyone's like, remember when Kiss was like, let's take the makeup off. And everyone was like, just put the makeup back on there.
Well, they did an unplug thing. They tried to do a thing where, which again, I love Gun, right? I love Lick It Up.
God
I love
made
Lick It Up.
rock and roll for you.
I love that song.
Sure.
But it does have when you make it acoustic, I don't know.
It
loses something.
My friend Brian Newman, he was the lead.
Lick it up. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Lick it up. Lick it up.
Tony Bennett might be dead, but his soul is inside of you.
Can you believe he fucking died?
I'm very sad. My friend Brian Newman was his #1 trumpet player, and he was all over the news, and I sent him a message, and I said, I'm sorry for your loss, but isn't that amazing that he knew a legend, an icon, and the last of the crooners in Tony Bennett. 96, we'll all be lucky to get there.
Mikey Bublé is the new crooner.
Yeah, I get, but he's the new gen. But you're right. He makes all those middle-aged women they love it. And I will say, in Bublé's favor, he is at least, like, if he fucked your mom, you'd be like, all right.
Well,
if you walk in and you see Ed Sheeran's pimply,
I'm gonna beat the shit
reddish
out of him.
ass,
I'm gonna pull him out and
it's
fucking
get
pull
out
him
of
out
here,
and
Ed.
beat the living fucking. No British woman gets to have sex with my mother.
But Bublé, you're like, you have it. Bublé, you.
Oh,
Bublé.
yeah, because in a way, I kind of feel like in a way he'd be classy. He'd write a check.
Oh, it definitely.
I feel like he'd show up. Yeah, he'd had sex with your mother and be like, "Hey, Bally, I know it's a terrible memory for you. Here's $10,000.
It's $10,000.
I mean, like, Mr. Bublé, you're welcome back anytime.
All right.
You're my new daddy.
Well, isn't that exciting?
I've heard some good. I got some good conspiracy news today. I don't even know if I'm allowed to share about Rex Heuermann's connections to the former administration.
I bet you can share it.
It is. I mean,
I
who
bet
knows?
you can share it.
There's some shit, man. Because I
You
don't
think
have
you're
any
gonna get
data.
suicided?
I don't even know. I just got any.
No, that's
I
why
don't
it's a conspiracy theory. No data needed.
I just got.
What's the conspiracy?
It's a word on the whim. It's a word on the wind.
Yeah.
That I got through various sources.
Okay?
Look in there. We'll find out.
What job? I don't want to know the sources, but do they have jobs?
You see this?
Uh-huh.
Sticking your out. That's what I did. The audience couldn't hear that.
All right, so
the audience couldn't hear that because I did it visibly. Yeah.
So it's blowing in the wind. So what's the conspiracy?
Rex Heuermann he has once on the payroll of the Trump community for various city-based work. This is apparently completely real, and he has a lot of connections to Rudy Giuliani. And there's
I don't disagree with it. There's a bunch of schmucks hanging out with schmucks. Sure.
It is very possible. Who knows that Rex Heuermann was a little bit
You
more
think that Giuliani was hiding the bodies with him?
his job, his self-appointed job of killing sex workers was his side gig.
Well, yeah, you don't get that's what you don't get.
It's hard to
It's like when
monetize.
you're a weekend warrior and
It's hard because on Patreon they hate that. They don't have any hitman anymore.
No,
They're
don't.
really like anti the whole like pay me to kill people on my gold tier.
The most disgusting thing is, I think if he did do a Patreon, he would probably get $10,000 a month.
For what?
Just being a murderer. I
actually
swear
don't
to
know.
God. Someone
You're
would-
literally talking about a movie that just got pitched the moment you just said it.
Thankfully, it's all shut
for murderers.
down.
Yeah, that's like literally people are trying to get the stuff done. Don't worry, they're all
Well,
fluttering.
keep you updated on the Gilgo Beach Killer as that trial happens.
Yeah, we're gonna find out how that rolls out. But I think we'll see how my conspiracy. My conspiracy sources, how they unwind these many webs they weave.
You say conspiracy, but I think Giuliani was probably aiding and abetting in most
lot of
murders.
weird shit.
Also, lastly, from my perspective here, Brian Koberger's defense. So his defense is trying to say he was nowhere near Idaho.
But
so we'll see what happens.
He's been like pinging off of every. That is the one thing we know for a fact where he was. We know where he was.
Anyway, so that's his defense. Is hey, it wasn't me. I wasn't there.
It wasn't there.
Anyway, it's interesting. I'm actually interested though that Koberger is actually putting on such a defense because I thought that he was going to make this like his big horse and pony show about how I did it.
How he did it.
But I guess he's going a different direction.
It's because he doesn't want to go to jail. Because he's probably very frightened of what's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
when
no,
he goes to jail. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. A nightmare for him. It's gonna be a nightmare for
as
him.
it should be.
Rise from your grave.
Because you know what else my conspiracy theorists have been not tweeting anymore.
No, it's Xing.
It's Xing.
What a fucking, I love it. It's all burning.
What a fucking
burn it all
moron.
down.
What a moron.
Who cares?
But this tomorrow, of course, today, this episode that's coming out, of course, is the Side Stories Permanent Curse, which is all of the news for some reason comes out on a Wednesday afternoon.
Hump day.
I don't know why.
They do say that the most productive day of the week is the Wednesday. Monday, you're thinking about Sunday. Tuesday, you're like, I got a whole week ahead. Wednesday, you're like, let me get some work done.
Let me crunch.
Thursday, it's already Friday.
Yeah, you know, that's how I feel. But
Exactly.
But Wednesday, tomorrow, is this massive hearing about the UAP situation inside of the government. There's going to be there's a lot, right? Because the stuff that's really coming through. I mean, I don't know a heck of a lot. I know that David Grush is going to talk. I know some other people are going to talk. There are some witnesses that are going to come and all talk about. Like, I also don't know what we are going to be able to hear because I know some of it's closed doors, some of it's not. We're going to find out what comes out at the end of this whole hearing. Next week, we're going to be able to really unpack it. It'll be nice to have a couple days, honestly, to sit and read through everything that kind of come out because of this whole whatever this disclosure meeting is.
Going to be. Well, we know there's a dude, his name is Christopher Mellon.
This guy.
Sounds like a porn star, speaking of which. Christina Mellon.
Christina Mellons.
He says, I've been told that we have recovered technology that did not originate on this earth.
Chucky Schumer's been saying the same fucking thing. Old Mark Rubio has been saying the fucking same thing. They're all coming out of the woodwork saying that we heard tell that there's something secret up in there. But then there's other people like Ross Coulthart, who's the guy that is the investigative reporter who helped David Grush come out, and he works for 60 Minutes Australia. And there is this prevailing theory that besides one side of it is I think that there is a political reason why they are ramping up this talk. They want this to happen fast.
Could be.
I think that partially they just kind of there's either like a super like run-of-the-mill explanation for it where like they just are sick of it being in the news cycle and they don't want to deal with it
Could
anymore.
just be space dust.
Yeah, like they just don't want it. Maybe they just want to settle it and say, fuck it, I'm sick of this. We have a lot of stuff going on. We're trying to get an election going. And they want to nail it, right? Maybe that's what they want to do. But there's another kind of thought processes they're thinking, because the term that keeps coming up is they keep saying there's some form of time constraint with releasing any information. This is a thing that has come up time and time again with all of these whistleblowers. They keep saying that it's important that we come out talking about this shit now because there's some kind of deadline we are approaching.
Okay.
That it seems to be amorphous. We have no idea what that means. So, of course, Ross Coulthart and everybody else in the UFO circles and all these other worlds, they're kind of saying, they're like, doomsday scenario, aliens are going to show. Everyone's freaking out, right? Everyone's freaking out.
Unless, of course, we were seeded by the aliens and they're just coming to check on their little fun friends that they've created or seeded.
They really seem to be pointing towards this idea that we were told by something else. Like, you got to like 2023. You have this date.
Well,
and then we're going to just show up. There's like that. Or there's something along the lines of one of these things has got like, who knows? Because, you know, if you listen to Bob Lazar, if that's real, one of the things that they found was so big that they literally had to build a building around it. They found it in an archaeological dig. They found it like, and it's ancient. And then maybe, can you imagine digging something up? And it's ancient, and then it just says, like, you know, like September 24th, 2023 on it. And you're like, what? Why? What?
What does it all mean?
And it's been sitting there for 50 years, and no one wants to talk about it. But I don't know what to make of any of this. I don't know what to make any of it.
To that point, the officials that have been speaking with Christopher Mellon, they are with the Department of Defense and intelligence agencies who are leading the way when it comes to UAP disclosure, which is quite fascinating.
Or were they sandbagging it in the first place? And now we're on this. We're on an already registered time period of disclosure. Like this has all been in the kitchen waiting to come out, where they've been waiting, and then we're going to slowly reveal in 2017 we hit this marker. We're going to do this. We're going to push it forward, which technically would make it the most functional rollout the government's ever done. Which then I don't know if that makes me doubt it immediately. Yeah. Like the idea that anything's on time or they have some kind of schedule. I don't think that's real either, because we've met people who work in the government, and it seems like it's a fucking mess.
Yeah, apparently a bunch of people think that there's something out there, including the Pope.
I mean, the Pope wants there's something to be out there because it's somebody else to stop talking about all the molestations.
Yeah, although according to Dr. Sean M. Kirkpatrick, well, that's the other part about all this. It's all a massive smokescreen to not discuss our corporatocracy and our total screwing over of every single human being. But according to Sean M. Kirkpatrick, that's the name of the guy from Dirty Work who got to punch Artie Lang because that was a really funny little bit they did there. He's the director of the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office.
Look how fucking terrible. I hate it. It's a good
All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. He previously testified to Congress that there was no credible evidence thus far of extraterrestrial activity.
Well, again,
so there
extraterrestrial is a word that they all are saying that it's not. No one's saying extraterrestrial.
Mellon disagreed with him. One thing we do know tomorrow, it's going to be a stinky time in Washington, D.C.
Oh, God. When the ufologists roll in. Ooh, man. It's one of the only type of conventions that there won't be a bump in sex worker activity.
No, there might be a bump in like creams.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of powders.
Chafes, anything that involves chafing. And then especially, and then a lot of these guys, because they're begging they have to beg for gas money for MUFON and NICAP and all these things. So it's like, there's going to be a lot of fast food influxes. I mean, if you're running a Popeyes in Washington, D.C., you're about to get a lot more difficult customers that are going to roll in. But I'm very, very curious because, yes, I could see the smokescreen aspect.
Sure.
Of course, like, because there's a lot going on to cover. We do have, like, we're in the middle of, like,
We're in the middle of a
strike
land war.
season in
We're in
America.
the middle of a land war in Europe.
Yeah, we got a proxy war, but that's
It's not a
kinda
proxy war. It's a
cooking.
very real war.
But we're cooking. But I mean, it's a proxy war for us. You know what I mean? We're letting other
Send a
people do the fighting and dying.
Send
But
a
it's
bunch
like-
of different kind of bombs.
But the idea is like, yeah, but that's kind of cooking. Like, we don't need to forget about that. I feel like there's like strike seasons happening in the country, but the UPS
For us.
strike was stopped, quote unquote. And now there's a lot of people talking about striking. So I feel like, yes, maybe it's a smokescreen to get people to talk about something else. But I feel like that's exactly what people are talking about on these strike picket lines is UFOs and UAPs. I feel like it doesn't hurt anything. I feel like more information than ever is getting spread because you have all these guys all mingling and talking and hanging out.
And don't forget Hollywood's role when it comes to the disclosure of the UFO
mouthpiece.
phenomenon.
Oh, yes, but you really do. Then you wonder. We're talking about
Well, they've
this.
been working with the government. Hollywood elites have been working with the government for a
Close
long time.
Encounters of the Third Kind. Steven Spielberg was reached out by he reached out to Jacques Vallée. Jacques Vallée was connected with all the government. They all came in. He had government advisors who said, being like, it'd be interesting because it might look something a lot like this. And Steven Spielberg was like, my parents divorced.
And then, of
Do
course,
you remember
he
my
did-
parents?
Yes, and of course, that was very hard for me. He made a movie about it. And then naturally, of course, we also have to remember that people who work for the government are just dumb enough to have jobs with the government. So it's all just human beings. As much as we want to have a
It's turtles all the way
whole
down, man.
wonderful conspiracy that someone might actually be in charge and know anything, they're all a bunch of morons.
But part
So
of you
we'll
wonders, I think the big conundrum of this, again, all of this could be hot garbage and this will roll past and we will laugh at this time period. But if even which was come up on last podcast time and time again, even if 1% is true, there's a secret history of the United States of America, then is it completely real? And then all bets are off. Then it's all, we're all going to sit here because I wonder, what if they are idiots in charge? And maybe now it's kind of more of a self-realization. This is what they're all kind of coming to a head to, if this is real, that we have something on our hands that we fundamentally do not understand. And that's the main issue. That's why we haven't disclosed.
They haven't said that. They're just like, it could literally be a toilet from fucking Klukskar.
Seriously.
And they're just like, that's where the alien shit.
But that's what I think.
Because you know what? They're going to receive at some point that stupid fucking car that Elon Musk put into space. So there's a car that they're going to be getting. So who knows? I mean, I don't think it's that far out of the realm of possibility.
Fucking knows. You can get this thing that's like an alien version of a camper.
Literally.
You know what I mean?
An
That's
Atari.
that no one has any idea what it is. And so I feel like there is a stripe of that in this conversation, but we'll see.
With what you see here now, this was an alien plunger, and it's just a really cool plunger.
And
then
you
it
sit there
increases.
and you're like, can we use it? And they're like, no, actually, the alien shed in more of a translucent hologram-like cube. And you're like, oh, so this doesn't actually help us? And you're like, no, but
it
isn't
would
it
help us.
fascinating?
It would help us.
I don't know.
Well, of course, plunger technology. What I have seen now that people are doing, they put that sheet over the toilet and they push down on it as if giving toilet CPR because you shattered it so much that it's died.
What do you mean?
And then it's a sheet.
What do you mean a sheet?
It's like a little cellophane sheet, and you
What?
put it on the toilet.
Like a dumpster dam for, like a dental dam for?
Yeah.
What is this? What do you mean? Like, let me look at this up. What do you
It's a
mean?
toilet sheet.
for plunging?
Yes. Well, you don't actually plunge it then, and then you put it on there. It seals the air, and then you just push on it again.
Sticky toilet plunging seats.
Yeah. So that's kind of fun. You might want to use that, actually. I think it is developed in Japan, so that would kind of go well with your toilet.
What does this do?
Well, it stops all your shit from
Where'd you
staying
see
in
this? This is like
saw
from
it.
World War II.
I saw it. I
Where
see a lot
were
of
you at?
Oh, buddy, I see so much. I see so much.
When did you?
Have you seen how it works? Do the video. You're going to want to know how it works.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good. You might actually
What?
like something.
It is Japanese, right? I'm
Yeah,
looking at
it is
this.
Japanese. Yes, exactly. And you have a Japanese toilet, so I think that might go well.
Mine actually, it plunges itself. It calls a little man, and the man comes all the way from China, all the way from Japan, and he
Aw.
plunges it right there in front of me.
Isn't that nice?
And then honestly, he will stay.
Yes. Well, as you look at that, Aaron Hernandez, he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then he also did kill 2 people.
He did, yeah.
But let's focus on the positive. He did
He was
win
the
a
one
Super
that
Bowl.
was like also kind of secretly gay, right?
Yeah, and which became very publicly gay. He did kill himself, thinking that his family
very
was
sad.
going
I
to get
forgot.
the
Yeah,
money.
he did commit a suicide. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
because technically he had not yet gone through, I believe, the sentencing phase. So if he committed suicide, he thought his family was going to get his money still.
That's incorrect.
But in Massachusetts, it wasn't incorrect, but then they changed the law because of him.
Yeah, because he was on
And
trial
now,
for murder. Yeah.
it's incorrect. But anyway, his fucking brother Dennis John DJ Hernandez, he was just arrested for the 4th time this year. He was planning to shoot up Brown University and the University of Connecticut.
I feel like there's something going wrong in the Hernandez family.
They need to just stick with football.
It sounds like football might have been the issue.
Oh,
it sounds like they all had scrambled eggs for brains.
No, he was so fucking tall. He was fine. He didn't even play long enough to get the scrambled egg brain, which then, if you do that, you get a jacket and you get to go into the Hall of Fame.
Isn't that nice?
Well, that's what I want to do.
Hey.
According to this, a witness said Hernandez said he had a bullet for everyone, but not a giveaway, not a giveaway kind of thing.
DJ,
but
so
from a bullet from
was he a football player? He played college football.
No, it was his brother.
Yeah, I know, but he served as a quarterback's coach for Brown's football team for one season.
He wrote a post on July 19th. He says, "Will I kill? ? Absolutely.
Oh.
I've warned my enemies."
And you were like, all right, you asked the question. You gave me time to answer.
And he got the answer. Will I kill? Absolutely. I've warned my enemies, so pay up front.
That doesn't make any sense. You shouldn't do it. I mean, I'm not trying to help anybody, but don't do that. Don't warn them.
Also, may I say, one of the nicest pictures of a mugshot I've ever seen. He looks like a nice man, but then again, he just wants to go kill everybody. He says, Yukon program is going to pay unless I have a package deal and I get my estate and every single thing I have worked for.
Do you think it's straight? I mean, obviously, there's a mental health issue, but what is it with is it the two of them? Is it obviously it did not get better when your brother commits murder and then commits suicide, and I'm certain that your life doesn't get better. Like you don't turn into I'm going to finish the 10K this week. After all that, I feel like there's a lot going on. Depending on the people, on the people that actually heal and move on, do the work. Yeah.
Let's learn from Aaron's mistakes and let's be more upfront with who we are as a person, so we don't feel so angry. He says, "I'm prepared to give my life, so I don't get to see you on the outside." No, I love you always. So if I don't get to see you on the outside, I love you always. Not all shootings are bad, I'm realizing. Some are necessary for change to happen.
That's what he said?
Yeah, that's what he said. Be the change
Wait a second.
you want to see.
Who said that?
That's what DJ Hernandez says, the brother of...
So he gave everybody his own moral to the story? But
he said not all shootings are bad, I'm realizing.
See, sometimes it's nice to just tell everybody you're going to kill them because then people show up and put you in a hospital. Yep. And he's not incorrect. You know what I mean? I do understand. That's called a cry for help.
But isn't it interesting?
That's what that technically would be.
This is another example of the differences between the UK and America, because Hernandez was charged with second-degree breach of peace and physical threats. Oh, well, yep. Hernandez eventually exited the house and yelled multiple times for officers to shoot him. Then he was tased.
Damn.
So they tased him there. They didn't shoot him. So you can't always get what you want, but sometimes you get what you need.
Hey, I find that out every day.
Every day.
Look at me. That's all I've got. This is the face of a person who's only received what they needed.
But
here we go. Here is.
I don't know.
It's true.
I don't know about that. Also, look at them there. Similar haircuts, huh?
Yep. Yeah.
The brothers got similar haircuts.
Yeah, I think the whole family needs a mulligan. Maybe that's what it is. Give him a mulligan. Redo the whole family.
Oh.
Rise from your grave.
Did you see this story? I just chose this story just because I felt just slightly triggered because of my body, but it sort of made sense. Surprise! The zoo gorilla, thought to be a male, births a baby. Now, what they're saying here is according to this baby, right? Because they explained in a press release, it's challenging to determine sex when gorillas are young, right?
Okay.
Until they're about Sully's age, right? Because they don't have prominent sex organs. And both males and females are sized about the same. Right?
Oh, interesting.
So it's very interesting. He's 8 years old.
You can't tell if it's got a ding dong or
I
an
thought
innie.
that gorillas just had open dicks, but
Yeah.
I guess not. Right? But then they reach a certain age, right? They become sexually dimorphic, meaning males and females look very different as they age. The release continues. However, males don't develop their characteristic large size, silverbacks, and large head bumps called sagittal crests until about age 12.
They call those head bumps sagittal?
Sagittal? CSAGITTAL.
They should call them like killer skulls.
Yeah, cool.
Like something cool. Yeah.
They're
awesome.
Bump heads.
Bump heads.
Since Sally, who's lived in the zoo since 2018, was young and healthy, she hadn't needed any veterinary procedures that would have resulted in zookeepers determining her true sex.
No gyno.
But they thought that, honestly, they just thought Sully was just a huge titted dude just like myself. Literally just thought he had the body of a mother. and then he just shot a baby out. They're like, holy fucking shit.
Do you think that'll ever happen to you? You think you're ever going to shit a baby out?
I mean, I keep checking.
I know.
Sometimes I'll take a dump and it hurts.
Well, that's very good news because I would assume that this is endangered or in need of more.
No, it's always good to have more gorilla babies. And gorillas rarely show outward signs of pregnancy because the newborns are smaller than human babies, and gorillas naturally have large abdomens.
So they just...
Because I thought maybe that's what happened. Because remember how, what's her name? Was it Gwyneth Paltrow, like, had a baby no one saw?
I don't know.
She was just
they have all
thin.
the dietitians
She was
and
like
stuff.
one thing. She had like a baby like the size of a golf ball or something. Someone else had it. There's no way she did it.
I don't recall that story.
There was some about some celebrity that was like really tiny, and then they like no one believed that they had the baby in them.
I feel bad for them. That's your chance. Eat the ice cream at midnight. I feel like this has happened across celebrities, though. I think it's because there's like surrogates is a big deal. Because again, you're on tour and you're doing all this type of shit. You can't just have it. Right. Well, all right. So there's a baby there. Oh, just my last story is if you live in Los Angeles, be careful. This guy, there's a naked dude. He's hanging out in all these LA apartment buildings. And as a matter of fact, the building that he's hanging out here looks like our old studio.
Let me look at that.
It looks like
oh my God, that does look like our old fucking studio. Was that? Does it say what neighborhood he was in?
He's in East Hollywood, so I don't believe that it is.
No, but it looks a lot like it.
Truly, it is scary. This guy's butt-ass naked, head to toe, and he's got a knife. So I guess that's kind of a piece of clothing. Anyway, if you are around the North Serrano Avenue in East Hollywood neighborhood, be very careful, truly, because this guy is out there, according to a 27-year-old resident who gave her full name, which I'm not going to give. She says he's been trying to break into apartments. He was rocking around naked one night, just full-on naked. I wasn't able to sleep the last week or so. I developed really bad insomnia, really bad anxiety.
This Barbie marketing is going too far.
I agree.
I am sick of this.
Everyone else is feeling the same thing. So I hope, there he is bending over. He's doing all the nudie stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he is really doing that. He's just like tying his fake shoes and doing fake lunges and shit.
Yeah.
He's doing like the most naked stuff I've seen.
So if
That's
you are
extremely naked.
If you are in law enforcement, this would be one of those chances for you to do something good.
But it's hard
maybe
because
be careful here to protect these people.
It sounds like what he's doing is that he's fully clothed and then he goes into the apartment building and takes off his clothes. He's like, outside he's fully clothed. Yeah. And then he goes in.
Well, she says you don't want to wake up and see a naked man roam in the pool touching himself. No. There's children. She says it's unbearable.
I feel that it's not... Like, it doesn't help because you're in East Hollywood. You're already paying rent way past what you should be fucking, especially for where you're at. You're already to the max. You're working 3 jobs. And you got to deal with this fucking naked guy. You know how many times I'd have to deal? Like, remember there was a woman who, when in my old apartment complex, when I lived in New York, there was a, like, how do you say this? It was a very elderly woman who used to go, doo-doo-loo. Doo-doo-loo, doo-doo-loo, like on the corner, right?
That's a lot like this naked guy carrying a knife.
But the thing is that at first you're like, oh, that's kind of fun. It's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you see a naked guy around, you're like, L.A. never change.
I don't know if that's
L.A.
true.
Hollywood, another dream, come alive. Depends on how big his cock is, right?
Well, it's judging by the blur,
eventually,
pretty big.
this old woman kept being like, help me. Right? And then, so I tried to avoid her, and then she lived on the bottom floor of our building, and then I would have to go and like help her turn her television on, and she was always kind of covered in pee, and the whole place had a lot of pee. And all of a sudden now I'm avoiding her because she needed more and more help, and then she'd forget to wear clothes, and
you're not
you
a
go
hero.
in there and
you're
you're
not
like,
a hero.
no, man, no.
Okay, so
I'm
this
a comedian.
literally this older woman, your story that you're attempting to paint as you as the victim is literally an elderly woman who needs help.
I had to avoid her.
And then you were just like, I had to avoid her.
She was ruining my day.
She was
literally, truly ruining my day.
Right.
I didn't want to see her anymore.
But you can
And she'd say all this like weird stuff.
Okay, that's kind of cute though.
No,
and
it
then
got
she would
to
say,
be.
but then she would say, "Help me!"
No,
and then you were like, "Yeah, to go." So it's like actually the story is evidence of you just being a horribly selfish neighbor.
I had to go to an audition.
Yeah.
Like I had a lot going on. I had to go record a podcast, and she'd be like, "I'm alone.
Help me out."
I'd be like, "You're stressing me out."
Right? Wow. You know what I mean? It's so hard for you.
And then all night she'd wail and wail because her landlord was named William. She'd go, William. William,
Yeah.
William, like
Right.
all
In
night.
need of
you know?
help. Yeah.
Yeah, but then it just mean like
Yeah.
just
So that
like
was, wow, it
get
must have been
the
so hard for
fucking-
you.
Yeah, just yikes! Come on,
Must
let's
have been
quiet
hard.
time. It's
Yeah.
quiet time in the apartment.
Well, it seems as
complex.
if just anybody helped her at any point, maybe she would
That's
stop
not
asking
for me, dude. I'm
Right.
I'm a working actor,
Yeah.
Satanist, bon vivant.
Yeah.
I got to get out there. I'm hungover. I can't
Wow,
deal
how
with your
brave- how
sign
brave of you.
your deep sign. That's mortality.
And
in my
also, you
face.
can't just use your whatever version of Satanism as a reason not to help an older woman. Because to be honest with you, Satan would just go have sex with her.
No.
Maybe that's what you should do.
Hey,
Maybe you could have gone and helped her out a little bit, scooped.
she didn't know what was happening.
She
If I
knows
had
she
sex
needed
with her-
help. She,
Yeah. But if I had sex with her, that's a woman deep in the throes
Well,
of
that's
dementia.
actually probably true. Yeah, that's a good point. So
That's a Christian.
it's
move.
not as bad as it could have been. You chose to ignore. So that's good.
I
'Cause you
couldn't had to move
You had to move.
because all night like help, William, William.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
Seems
you're
like she just
stressing me out,
She
woman.
needed some help.
This is a
So-
recession.
Right. I don't know. What was it, 2008 then? Or
2013.
2013? Yeah. So it's not really a recession at
Well,
that point.
well,
Kind of
in
was
this
actually,
economy,
it wasn't that bad then. It was actually not as bad as
it was on the re jump, but that was actually I didn't get a lot of work in 2013.
No, you didn't have a day job though, because you were the first one
No, I was
to.
on unemployment for a long period of time
Yeah.
because I was out of work.
But you were the first one to jump fully into the arts. But that was 2014.
I got my first job in 2009.
Okay. All right, let's do Hero of the Week. An otter has turned into an outlaw. This otter is very cute. He keeps on stealing everybody's surfboards. It's a 5-year-old female otter, officially known as Otter 841. What is this?
Yeah, what is this?
What the fuck?
Yes.
Why don't we just call her like, we'll call her
Number 9?
number 9?
Number 9?
Why don't we call her Otera the Otter?
Oh, yeah.
And ironically enough, your name in Wolf of Wall Street was Sea Otter. So it all does come
I
together.
don't know. You never know.
Apparently, this otter is unusually aggressive, and she's been seen near the Santa Cruz coast.
No, she's a thief.
Yeah, but in this context, we're making her a hero because why not? So a lot of people are saying, keep 841 free. Keep 841
People are coming
free.
because they're saying
But,
they don't know because, again, because it's surfing all over her turf.
You're surfing on her turf. Also, you got to be able to whap a 5-year-old female otter in the head and win. We're still supposed to be a superior species. And all of these, I've seen the videos and the surfboarders are just like, I guess you can have it. It's like, no, whap her. That's why
It's
she's
true.
a hero.
It's true. It's true.
Because she's exposing these hunks that all the women want. These people are cowards and they won't defend you. They
It's
can't
true.
even beat a 5-year-old otter. I'll beat a 5-year-old otter to death right now. But anyway, not this one because that's Hero of the Week.
I love this. Ann Stadler, who's a vocal, she says, I don't have all the facts and history of the incidents, but it just seems to me to be yet another example of humans feeling that they have the right of way on the earth. And that
There you
other
go.
contemporary species
Let otters vote.
and their rights to their native habitats are expendable. Oh, someone's been watching Pocahontas.
Indeed. Well, many people have also gone back
true.
to the aforementioned Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah, I love
They
this.
say
Yeah, there's
this
gonna
is a
be-
meme that reads,
She's the hero Santa Cruz deserves, but not the one it needs right now. So we'll hunt her because she can take it. Because
indeed,
she's not our hero. She's a silent guardian. We'll watch and protect her. A dark night.
a Dark Knight indeed. So there you go. The California
You
Department
shouldn't
of...
arrest an otter, though.
You can't.
Not for thievery.
How the hell are you going to arrest a fucking otter?
Smaller, little. I mean, I guess what you used to arrest kids.
Yep. So anyway, the Otter 841 was born in the aquarium approximately 5 years ago. She was raised by her mother and minimally cared for by the staff, disguised in black rubber suits and wielding masks to hide their human appearance, which also probably made her like really freak the fuck out because they're still like humans, you know? And then,
It's very interesting because
Yep.
it is very interesting. Over the
She's
past
been-
year,
yep.
have you seen this? 162 children under 13 have shot themselves or another child. We have almost one every other day.
Well, what the
of
hell are you
children
talking about
shooting
that
children. Because I want to talk about culpability of animals. Because then Eddie sent me this thing recently for some reason.
Culpability of
A
animals.
list of fatal bear attacks. You know, there's hardly any.
Yeah, no
like
shit.
per year, there's like almost no bear attacks.
Yeah.
There's more
How many
toddler
times-
versus toddler
Gun
violence
Yeah,
than bears on humans.
yeah. And shark attacks as well. Yeah, that's all a myth.
It's interesting. I did not know that there's this many
did you mean-
fatal
have you
bear
been-
attacks. But no,
Anyway, let's
I'm
go
just
back
saying,
to the
it's
hero
making
that
me-
we need.
it's
Otter
reevaluating.
841. You have become hero of the week. You're also harassing surfers. And again, I'm just a little bit jealous because they'll take your wife. They're surfers, and they also know how to get away.
But
they
honestly,
can get away from land, on land or sea. They're surfers.
the truth is, surfers don't need your wife. They got plenty of fucking, speaking of Otter's tail, anywhere they go, man. Surfers, again, washboard abs. Anybody with that type of like natural V never has to worry about anything. They don't have to fuck your wife.
Several petitions have circled supporting 841's freedom. They got over 50,000 signatures saying, you leave that otter alone.
Hey, I'm with them. I'm now on the other side. Don't bust an otter for thievery. It's so hard to get the receipts.
Well, absolutely. I mean, what are you going to do? It's super cute.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
Super cute.
Before I do my little listener emails here, I just want to remind you, check out the stream. We have this week
Saturday,
That's a lot of
July
work.
20.
a lot of work's coming down
Ninth?
the pipe, all right? 7/29, July 29th. Check it out, twitch.tv/podcast network from 10 to 10. We're doing 12 hours.
They're putting
We're
me
gonna
to
do
work.
a big old, you're putting him to work.
They're putting me to work, everybody.
We're going to get them out there in the direct sunlight. We're going to do a full
I know.
LPN TV presents The Grind. This is a full-on grind parody. We're going to have people dancing. You're going to be parody. It's going to be like
Yeah,
you never,
parody.
it's like the grind's back.
Yeah, exactly. This is like how I watched Spaceballs before I watched Star Wars, and then I watched Star Wars, and I was like, this isn't funny at all.
Oh, yes. And then remember, so we got The Good Pud is coming into a live streaming show, and it's going to be a regular streaming show on our Twitch.
This is what you really think is going to bring them in.
Oh, you got to. It literally has to. I'm just physically trying to remind them because you literally cannot tell them enough.
What kind of pudding do you think you'll be eating with Jackie?
I don't know. That's for a reveal
Okay.
on the
You
show.
don't see if I don't see some goddamn tapioca,
I don't
You
like
better-
tapioca. It's got chunks in it.
you've got to like the tapioca.
You like tapioca?
I do, but I don't like bubble tea.
It's like the same. It's just
But it's different because
basically
they're smaller.
bubble tea is
Bubble tea.
tapioca in frozen form.
And it's
it
too
can-
big.
like Han Solo, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Also, the straw is so big, you feel like you're sucking off a robot or something. It's weird.
I mean, interesting because you got bigger mouth. I'm certainly like, I guess you're not. Your mouth is more narrow than I thought it would be.
It's the first time you're looking at it, huh?
It's just
All
hard
right,
to,
why
it's hard
don't
to
you
get
read? Why
close.
don't you read your emails there?
Let me check it out.
Why don't
All
you
right,
read your
Roundtable
little
Gentlemen, your
emails?
fucking show
Why
is
don't
also
you
going to
re-
be on the fucking stream. We're
Why
doing
don't you read your little fucking emails?
You better check it out. It's for free. There you go.
All right. Because you said you got some good ones. Last week you said, I feel like every week you've said, oh, I've got some good ones. I'll share them next week. But then it doesn't seem like you haven't been sharing the good
No,
ones.
sometimes I do.
Okay. So,
But then sometimes I forget.
right.
And sometimes then you read it and you realize it was never actually very good.
Right. But you read it last night,
Yeah.
you're super stoned or something. Yeah.
Yes, how it
Okay,
goes.
great.
So I wrote the following report for my supervisor to have on record after receiving a crazy phone call while dispatching for animal control in Springfield, Missouri.
Okay.
I
Always
decided
the
to not
Springfields.
edit it. I think the official report style makes it even better. On 3/17/2021, around 9 a.m., I received a call from a man who sounded mentally disabled,
It was a man.
stuttered, and had trouble getting clear thoughts out. He started by telling me that he had brain damage and to please be patient with him and answer all his questions and promise not to laugh at him. This is how I need to start everything.
Oh,
gonna do this
sure.
from now on.
All right. You better have brain damage, though. This can't just be a sexual bit.
Well, I promised not to laugh and said I would do my best to answer his questions. He mentioned to me that he had recently been in the hospital and was now in a hotel room. He said he had found the door open and gone inside and was now hiding under the bed.
Oh,
This
so
is
he
animal
wasn't,
control.
he wasn't
It's animal
paying
control.
for
Yeah.
the hotel.
He said he had about 41 bottles of pills. They had taken a lot of animal tranquilizers. I attempted to find out where he was, and he said he was in a hotel on ELM Street,
Wait.
somewhere downtown.
Elm Street.
I suggested Elm, and he said yes.
Yeah.
He asked-
What do you? Okay.
This is report style. He asked me a line of questions that was something like this. Are you an animal control officer? Are you a lady officer? What does your truck look like? Does it have boxes for dogs in the back? Could I please, I'm begging you, just go into one of these boxes. If you saw someone in a dog costume, would you have to stop and pick it up? Right? He expressed that he had a dog costume that was very realistic and that he was a small person. So I would probably think that he was a dog and could put him in one of the boxes so that he could hide in there for the day. When I let him know I could not do that, that's when he started to ask where we keep the trucks and saying that if I found him in one, I could just pretend to not see him. He also wanted me to look at a Dalmatian dog costume on the internet for comparison. He continued talking and mentioned that he has 4 guns and a lot more pills, and he was wanting to kill himself.
Well, dogs don't have guns.
No. It's fair. I mean, they can have a gun, but most of the time they think it's treats.
Yeah, sometimes dogs do pull triggers on accident, and it does kill people.
I contacted dispatch and continued to try to get an address or hotel name. He would not tell me anything, but continued to ask about the truck. I asked him not to kill himself or hurt himself. I also told him that I was very worried about him and would like to send help if he could please tell me where he was. Eventually, he told me that the pills he took made him as small as the letter I on a phone. Next, he went into questions about if he jumped in my purse, would I take it home and put it in my closet? He then talked about jumping into my slippers. He asked about what size shoe I wore, if there was toe indentations in the slippers, and if he could fit in the indentations and he could hide there. All again, kind of cute.
I mean, not really at all, actually, because of all the guns and the drugs and the vor. This is a vor element.
There's a lot of elements here. His questions got more sexual and fetishistic as I attempted to keep him on the phone. I eventually got an address of 517 ELM. I attempted to keep him on the phone while talking to dispatch about his location. He continued to ask questions about my feet, my toes, gobbling them up, whether he could put hot sauce on them. At a few points, I could hear what sounded like him masturbating. I attempted to get a room number, his name or description of the man, but he would not answer my questions.
Well, why is she so invested here?
He eventually said, because again, this is technically he's a very helpful person because he said he was suicidal, and so they're trying to stop him, right?
Right.
So eventually he said, I see officers. Why did you send them? I told him because I did not want him to hurt himself or anyone else. I told him they were just to help. And he said, you tricked me. And he stayed on the phone for some time after that, but he would not communicate with me other than answering my questions of, are you still there from time to time? And then he hung up.
All right. Well, there you go. What a story indeed. No word on if he committed suicide or not. I don't.
And then they did pick him up. They said that he was found. He got picked him up by animal control because the cops had then animal control had to call the cops. The cops came and they said they found a man in a full dog suit asking to be picked up and put into an animal control truck. And then he was openly masturbating.
All right, there you go. You never know.
It takes a village.
Animal control. I
That's my
suppose
guy.
we are animals, so I guess that would check out. But, yep, okay. Well, there you go.
Here I got another one. Let me just start by saying that this ghost encounter has 4 total witnesses, including myself. So when my brother and I were kids, we hung out with our 2 male cousins at the time. Did normal boy stuff like climbing on the roof and jumping off, having rock fights, etc. Me and my buddies used to show each other our buttholes.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to have fun with it here. A little wink for you.
So one day we were playing in mine and my brother's garage and decided to go play in the attic. And this is where the spooky stuff happens. Myself and one of our cousins climbed up first as we were the youngest and smallest. My brother and another cousin then climbed to the top of the ladder to see us staring motionless at the back of the attic. They asked us what we were looking at. There's a granny doll hanging on the wall, I said. And there's a lantern under it. I move over so they could see, and they looked just as confused as us. Pinned to the wall at the very back of the attic was a granny doll.
Oh.
It was a similar doll style as a Raggedy Ann, but it was an old woman. And it was nailed to the wall by its hands and its feet, similar to a crucifixion. And there was a huge old-timey oil lantern underneath it.
Oh, that's
with a fire burning, illuminating the doll from underneath. The cousin I was up there with immediately clawed his way back down the attic with his brother. They both seemed completely rattled. However, my brother told me to go get closer. And I want to preface this with a few things. My brother and I have always believed in ghosts, but we were also just generally desensitized to pretty much everything because we grew up on the internet. So our opinion on ghosts has always been, if they live here too, treat them like a roommate. Don't fuck with them. They won't fuck with you.
Well, that's not how you treat roommates for the most part. You kind of razz them, punch them.
Just don't look at them.
Don't look at your roommates.
No, never look at a roommate.
Never look at a roommate. Okay.
I crawled all the way back there to get a closer look. And yes, indeed, it was a fucking granny doll nailed to the wall with an oil lantern lit underneath it. I immediately came back down and got my parents. My mom climbed the ladder and said she didn't see a granny doll, but she did see a light coming from the back of the attic. She went in and came back with a tiny toy battery-powered lantern, much, much smaller than the one I had seen, and this one was made out of plastic. We had never seen that toy lantern before, and even weirder, it still worked. My brother and I and our parents all joked about the so-called granny doll that haunted our house well into our adulthood. This happens maybe 20 years ago. So we turned the whole encounter into a sort of inside joke. However, a few years ago, we asked those same cousins if they remember the granny doll, and they both turned pale within seconds and refused to talk about it.
Wow. Well, there you go. You never know what's going to happen. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, every day you
L.
gotta live every day fucking hanging out like you're crucified to an attic wall. Just remember, hey, I'm just happy to be here.
I'm happy to be here.
right, because-
Rent-free, living rent-free in this ghost economy.
This is incredible, right? I'm living rent-free in this family's head. I'm a granny doll. I'm crucified. I'm laughing my way to the bank, right? I know
Absolutely.
for a fact that I am scaring everybody. Isn't this awesome? And I'm just crucified here because I stole an apple next to Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, that would make sense.
All right, and then you're gonna love the fact that you help open heaven.
You did indeed.
You,
Well,
and then also I forgot, the upside down cross came about because the one of the other disciples was going to get crucified, and he wanted to be crucified in the same manner as Jesus Christ. So then he was crucified upside down.
Well, isn't that fascinating? All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for listening. Thanks to everyone who came out to Comic-Con in San Diego.
We did it
And
really good.
thanks-
We had a really fun panel.
Yes, and I'm sorry I couldn't make that, but I know Marcus and Henry had a great time, and everyone else did.
The show sounded great. In
Yes,
Vegas.
and thanks for everyone who came out to Las Vegas. We sold out, wise guys. And you know what my reward for that was? They asked us to do the club in Salt Lake City.
Whoa!
All right, so there you go.
Connections.
There are rewards to be
There
to
is.
do it well. You get to go to Utah potentially, although I don't think there's enough money to actually go because we'll have to would cost us. Anyway, thank you for coming out and for the birthday cake. I got birthday cake,
That's really nice.
and the crowd saying happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
So that was nice, but I don't like my birthday. But I was like, thank you.
no, but again, because we had a really
Also,
good time on your
42, 40 new.
42, 40 new. Yeah, I can see
Because
it.
last week sucked, so now this week is going to be better.
This week's going to be better.
Okay.
It better be.
And this year is going to be great.
We're more than halfway through it.
No, my year.
Yeah, so you were saying you're in a low
No,
stop.
my year of 42, which has just begun.
Yeah, it's just begun. Yes, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
It's just begun.
It really has, and it is. Wow.
All right. Thank you all.
Steaming out the fucking the hole, man.
Thank you all so much for listening. Hail yourselves.
Hail Satan.
Congratulations.
Hail me.
See you on Saturday
Yeah, come
for
on
the
out.
stream.
Comment on us.
Yes.
Comment on us.
Bye.
This show is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks to our ad sponsors, you can support our shows by supporting them. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lastpodcastnetwork.com.